So let me give you an example back to cryptocurrency. So if I want a fixed supply cap, Bitcoin has 21 million. That's it. We want something that can't have the rules changed on us, immutable law. And we want something that's censorship resistant. Nobody can steal it from me and nobody could stop it, block it, prevent it. To me, that's what we're trying to solve. The world didn't need faster money. Like Venmo and PayPal is pretty dang fast. Like I don't need faster money. So if we want to compare, to your point, like Ethereum's number 2, right, out there. And so the big gripe was that we know Bitcoin has 21 million, but what's the supply cap of Ethereum? So we don't know. And obviously, if we were buying stocks, we'd want to know what the market cap of that stock is. We'd want to know how many shares of stock were outstanding. And so then we can get a market cap. We know Bitcoin has a fully diluted supply of 21 million, but what was Ethereum's? We don't know. So about 5 months ago, I think 5-6 months ago, Vitalik Buterin, the leader of Ethereum, got together and they changed the entire monetary issuance of Ethereum. That sounds like the Federal Reserve. That sounds like the problem that we're trying to get away from. I don't want more of this thing. We have ones like Cardano or, all of these proof of stake ones that have decentralized governance. And so what that means is whoever has the most tokens can stake them, and whoever stakes the most gets the most votes, and they can change the rules. I don't want anyone to change the rules. That sounds like the same system that we have today. And so really, if you're I guess that's the answer. Those are the problems that I'm trying to solve from. I believe out of 15,000 cryptocurrencies, there's only one that can do that, and it's just Bitcoin.
And you're looking for complete freedom, basically. You mentioned the gold standard before, so I'll bring up, as you know, this very polarizing debate between Bitcoin versus gold. But I think the two things these assets have in common is that people are so passionate about either loving the asset or hating the asset. So I'm just going to bring up Nassim Taleb, who has compared Bitcoin to a disease. He called it worthless. It's not a currency. It's not a store of value. It's not an inflation hedge or haven for investors. There's other people who would echo those thoughts. So what do you say to those folks that just don't understand Bitcoin, hate Bitcoin, think it's just a massive speculative bubble? What would be your response?
Well, the first thing I would just say real quick is that after 2008, after the financial system crashed, I became a gold bug. And so I've been a gold bug. What I found is that I'm a sound money advocate. And so I don't really want to have Bitcoin and gold fight. I believe Bitcoin's superior, but they're both pushing this sound money narrative. But back to the quote that you're reading, I think that is extremely arrogant position to take. And it troubles me that anybody, especially Taleb, would have that viewpoint. And here's why. I believe in freedom. I believe that we have the freedom to choose. And if you look at nations that start crumbling, say Venezuela, for example, they start going kind of back to a barter society. And so they're trading water for batteries, for example. That's what they're using for currency. Money is what we say money is. I have the right to trade anything I want for anything I want, including my labor. So for him to say that it's not a store of value, well, it's been my store of value and it's made me a lot of money. I started buying at $300. It's been a very good store of value for me. We know it's a store of value for MicroStrategy and other S&P 500 companies. We know it's a store of value for countries like El Salvador. So who is he to say it's not a store of value? It's actually been a very good store of value. And so for him to say that and say, it makes me think that he believes that people don't have the right to choose where they want to store their cash. Some people want to store their money in Pokemon cards. Okay, great. Some people want to store it in real estate, and some people want to choose gold or Bitcoin. Of course, what you store your wealth in matters. But I can't believe, especially Taleb, after writing that book, Anti-Fragile, would make a statement like that.
Okay, so that's interesting. You said you also embrace gold. So you're one of the few out there that have embraced Bitcoin and gold. You say Bitcoin is the stronger horse in the game here compared to gold. Why?
Again, right, a candle was light for 5,000 years, but electricity was a better version of that candle because it worked different. And so if you look at the properties of money, so gold emerged as the best form of money. And money has to have, many principles: portable, divisible, durable, saleable, etc. But gold isn't portable. And so as the world started to develop, trying to get gold from the United States to Spain, for example, was very difficult. And so you'd have to sail it across the sea, ships would sink, pirates would take it, etc. And so then we started using ledgers, and then gold went into banks. It became centralized. And then we had a layer 2, which was paper gold certificates, which made it very easy to trade gold, but the gold was centralized in the banks. That led to the United States Act 6102 seizing all the gold and stealing it because it was already in the banks. And so gold doesn't work today in today's world in a sense where you're somewhere else in the world than I am. And I could easily send you Bitcoin right now, but I can't send you gold. The only way I could send you gold again would be if it was in somebody else's safe, and then we used a ledger system. But now we're required to trust that third party. And of course, that's the problem. We don't want to trust. Bitcoin is trustless. And so I can literally send you Bitcoin peer-to-peer, as opposed to gold. We have to trust that it's in there. And again, history shows that it hasn't worked out very well.
Mark, I guess just to wrap here, final thoughts for investors watching, for the folks who maybe haven't stepped into Bitcoin yet, or maybe for the folks who are all in and, like you said, concerned about what they're seeing, but you say, look at the bigger picture. I guess just bring it home for us as we're starting the new year, and how, just some thoughts for 2022 here.
Yeah, a couple thoughts that I'd bring it home with is kind of going back to inflation for just a second. And so while we're getting caught up in this inflation versus deflation academic argument, I think it's much easier for people to zoom out and go, when the central banks increase the monetary supply, whether through monetary or credit expansion, that leads to inflation. And it affects us all differently, depends on where you live and what you're buying, et cetera. But ask yourself the question: do you think the governments of the world, the central banks of the world, will print more money in the future and continue to expand the credit base, or will they do less? I think the answer is more. So that means there's more inflation coming. Don't get caught up in the nuance of this academic argument. That's one. And then if you think that's the case, then how do you protect yourself from that? And you want to go into an asset that nobody can create more of, which is why we're seeing this massive kind of rotation from growth stocks into value stocks, and specifically commodities and energy, because those are things that can't really be manipulated as much. So one, kind of look at the frame of where the world is going, I think, one. Two, and then I think understand why it is that you're buying it. So again, if I was buying Amazon a decade ago, I believed it could become this e-commerce leader. I have to wait for that to happen. And if you believe that Bitcoin could give us an option to hold our wealth in a way that central banks can't inflate it and steal it from us, or stop us and block us from using it, then we want to buy it early, and we want to wait for that to come to pass. Zoom out, have that long-term perspective. That's my advice.